Today we're continuing making our 1 John map of content, or hub note, whichever term you prefer to use. In the previous video I started making this collection note, overview note that I could use as a reference for later. I was kind of just going through the book and jotting down some ideas, putting some questions in that I might come to later. Today we're going to expand upon that. We're going to look into some of these issues, make some more notes, start to structure it. Now, I'm not looking to finalize anything here. This will never be final, I don't think. That's the whole point of a system like this. It's living, it's evolving. Over time, maybe some different issues will come up, some different questions will come up. I'll learn something new and I can add it in, reformat and restructure it as I go. And that's the kind of exciting thing about a system like this. It's never finished. It's always growing, always developing as we learn, as we understand. But hopefully we'll get something a bit more useful and full by the end of this one. So let's just go over what's happened in the meantime. It's just been over a week since I posted the last video, since I created the last video. And in the meantime, I've been going through the paper Bible, looking at 1 John and writing down some notes from there, getting some thoughts. I find the paper Bible really useful for looking at this overview of what the whole book is looking at. It's very useful to see, like, how big is a section? How does it compare to other chapters? When do we move from this kind of idea into the next idea? And if you're looking at an electronic version, then you're stuck with your chapter 1 here, and then you have to open up the next file for chapter 2 there. And it's not so useful. That's the kind of limit that we have with these digital, when you have paper, plain text Bible in your note system. Now, in addition to that, I've also gone through some resources like this hefty beast here, the New Testament in Its World by Mike Bird and N.T. Wright. I've looked at their kind of overview and their thoughts on it. And also, I've been going through some of the resources I have in Logos in my library here, especially looking at things about 1 John that could be useful for me there. And I've also made a few notes, started making some notes and updating links here to save some time when we get into it. So, let's see. Questions I have about the book. Who wrote the book of 1 John? Is it the same writer as the Gospel of John? There are similar themes in the letters and Gospels. Now, if it was not the same writer, it is definitely someone from within a Johannine, and I'm probably going to spell this wrong, Johannine school or grouping within the early church. But N.T. Wright and Mike Bird certainly think it was the same writer, and they believe it was John the Elder. So there you go, there's a thought there. The guy who wrote this commentary, who is this as well? He was information. This is from Grant Osborne or Philip. I actually don't know who it is. Same from the Cornerstone Bible commentary. Same in the Cornerstone Bible commentary. Now, I'm looking at this now. I've just got through this part. Do I have N.T. Wright here? Do I have... Whoops. N.T. Wright. There you go. I knew I had N.T. Wright. Don't think I have Mike Bird, though. I'm also not sure that I spelled his name right. Mike Bird. I don't think I've spelled his name right, but there we go. I can check that up afterwards, make sure. Actually, I can check it now. Mike Bird. Yeah, I have Michael. Probably should do, but oh well. John the Elder. Why don't I get that as a text link? John the Elder. Okay, so there we go. So there you go. I've expanded upon that a bit. Still not great. Let's move it along to process. I think there's a bit more content there. Now, what does it mean, the Spirit, the water, and the blood? And so I've got this note here. I've actually just imported it straight into my system. I wouldn't normally do this. I'd normally try and summarize, but I feel it's so useful as a reference for this one. I do think I'm going to keep it as a reference. I really don't like doing that, but I think it's good. This seems like a phrase to help address the beliefs that Jesus was either not divine or not in the flesh, that he was spirit only or something. You know, there's this kind of this belief going around at the time. Was Jesus, well, you know, the two separate ideas, that he was either fully God or fully spirit, not man at all, or fully man and not spirit. And so it seems like by saying water and spirit, water and blood, this is kind of testifying to his flesh as well as his spiritual presence. And then there's also this point, it can also be a reference to his baptism and crucifixion. Baptism, the water, yeah, that's water, crucifixion, blood. Yeah, makes a lot of sense. So, yeah, I've started to put this in my own words. I still don't really like my own words for this. I don't feel like I'm summarizing it well because I don't really understand this concept well enough. So let's add a tag. Let's add to process. I really want to go through it again, update this, but I'm getting some stuff down. Sin not leading to death. This was a real question that I had. Really interesting note that I found here. So let's get this up to process as well. So we know to come back to it. Yeah, really interesting thing that apparently there's an Old Testament distinction, unconscious or accidental sins and intentional sins that could apply to death. How this applies to Christianity is not totally clear. That is a fantastic little comment and to leave at the end there. And we certainly, we raise the question of the unforgivable sin and intentional sins. How living in sin, it really is a big theme that we have in 1 John, where he's talking about if you're a Christian, then it should be demonstrated in your life. It should be apparent. But there's also the kind of when we sin, he talks about, it's I have it right here. Actually, he says, in 1 John 1:9, if we confess our sins, so we're clearly still sinning. So there's this separation of sins here, like the sins which aren't. Really interesting theme. Something that's really important as well. I'm definitely going to continue looking into this and developing on this. In fact, actually, that's a note I've made later on, which I'm going to have to link to in a moment. But we'll do that. So I'm going to summarize it now. Sin leading OT includes a distinction between unconscious sinning and intentional sinning. There is a question. How much does this still apply to Christianity? There you go. Kind of summarised that whole section there without some of the sources. So again, it's not so good. Going to need to rewrite it in my own words a bit later. But as you can see, I've kind of got some notes down. I've got some stuff down. I've got some information addressing some of the key questions I came to this passage with when I first read through it quickly. And I understand this letter a lot better because I've been going through this. I've found some resources. Now, who is it written for? I have some information on that because I have got some stuff down here. Actually, I haven't put it in there. So, who was? Let's change that. Who was 1 John written for? Well, let's start a note on this right now. So easy to do, so great to do. 1 John. Okay, we'll put a link back to the book of 1 John, and then we'll go into a note. So I have found out that the 1 John was probably a circular letter to many groups in the connected Johannine community. Because it was its nature. Let's change that. Try to write this well. Right? Its nature as a circular letter explains why. Let's see. 1 John doesn't. Not structure. The strange structure explains. There we go. The strange structure of 1 John, as it didn't have a singular audience. There you go. It also so I know part of the reason I've created a note on this. I've started to create a note. The issue the writer was addressing was... What was the issue he was addressing? I can't remember what it was. So let's go back. I've written the thing down here somewhere. Who was it written for? Strange structure of epistle. Controversy in the Johannine community. Do I have it here? Maybe I haven't made a note on it yet. Maybe I'm supposed to make a note on it. Oh, and I've forgotten what the thing was. Who was it written for? There was a controversy. Now I need to check what that controversy was. Let's check my notes. Oh, yes. Aha! There we go. So I found the note. It was about this issue that we see in 1 John 2 verses 18 and onwards. It's about those who have left the Johannine community, those who have left the Christian community. Leaving Christian community, leaving. Okay. Was addressing members of the members who were leaving the community and had been persuaded of different beliefs. Whoops. This is brought up in 1 John. Where is it? 1 John 2. Whoops. 02. 18. Oh no, 19. And let's also put down 22 as well, because there's the key thing where he says, let's just pull it up. Who is the liar but he who denies that Jesus is the Christ? This is the Antichrist, he who denies the Father and the Son. So there you go. They are denying that Jesus is Messiahhood. Issue. Okay, so I want to actually turn this into a better note. It was good to put it down as like a summary, but now I want to refactor it, turn it into an atomic note because I'm going to reference it elsewhere. Okay, so how can I phrase this as a good sentence? Who is it written for? 1 John controversy. The controversy at the heart of 1 John? Maybe make it a question kind of thing. Hint at it. Yeah, let's try that actually. The controversy at the heart of the reason for writing 1 John. Let's keep that. Was the members of the community who doubted that Jesus was the Messiah and the Son of God. Was the Messiah. Okay, I'm gonna take that. I'm gonna put it in here. I'm gonna link you back. Don't know where the main link will go to this one. Tags. I don't know which tag to create. Probably, perhaps. Just go back to this one. Who was it written for? I'll just copy this. Members of the community. Oh, whoops. Open. Let's go back. Members. Okay. Members of the community had to doubt that Jesus was Messiah and were leaving. Okay, there we go. I think we'll link this one back to just 1 John, to the main one. It could be the reason, I'm not sure. Links, we could also link this to why write 1 John, let's just, why was the reason for writing, whoops. I could actually just bring up the tag, the backlinks, couldn't I? If I find the backlinks then. Who was 1 John written for? Who? There you go. Okay, let's go back to 1 John. So let's add this. Why was... Is it that one? Where did I just come from? Controversy. Heart of 1 John. Okay, so we got... when was it written? Probably between 95 and 105 AD. That is one estimate that I found. I'm going to check that up. I'm not sure about that. There we go. Key message. I've kind of tried to summarize it here. A true faith is demonstrated in love and obedience and good doctrine. I have some key verses. You know, maybe these aren't the key verses. Maybe there could be a different key message. This is the message which you've heard from him and announce to you that God is light and in him is no darkness at all. If we say that we have fellowship with him and walk in the darkness, we lie, we don't tell the truth. But if we walk in the light, he is our light. We have fellowship with one another. And the blood of Jesus Christ cleanses us from all sin. So this is, again, coming back to this question of sin, living the true life. And here we have this kind of paradox that we should live, if we're Christians, we'll live a faithful and true life, but at the same time there's still the fact that we need to be cleansed as well. So there you go. Bit of a interesting question. I think when we talk about darkness here, we're looking, as it was in the Gospel of John, darkness as a sign of unbelief, if we walk in ignorance, kind of, rather than in the light of God. Now, again, this note isn't finished. Some of the themes need to be expanded upon. Those who went out, I've highlighted it there so that we can capture it a bit more and a bit further. And there are some application points that I need to expand upon, but hopefully you can see now how this is expanding, how I'm creating these extra notes and building it in, linking it together, starting to link themes and topics together. And I'll continue this maybe in a future video. Maybe I'll show you where I've developed this more, added a bit more structure in another one.